Good evening, everyone. Ayan. Magandang gabi. Welcome to our another free webinar with Q&A and especially with e-certificate powered by ASLEX Speech Academy in partnership with IXLCIE Review Center, Pinoy IEs, and our media partner Inhiniero.org. And for this night, February 19, we will be having another free learning session from one of our partners from ASDEX PH Academy. No? So I'm having again trouble replying to the messages. Yan. Please help me inform your colleagues that our YouTube channel is up and kicking. We're streaming this learning session live na po sa ating YouTube channel. And I guess this is something na nakalagay naman doon sa instructions natin na whenever you are parang you haven't had the chance to enter the Zoom room dun sa limit natin na 100, the YouTube channel is always available for the live stream. Lahat naman po ng ginawa nating e-learning session, na free learning session, ganun yung ating set up. Ano po. So please let me or help me rather reach your colleagues no po. Ang ating YouTube link, direct YouTube link stream ay nasa page po natin as of the moment. Or they can simply go to our YouTube channel and look for the live stream na ginagawa. Yan. As of this hour. So without further ado, again, my name is Felix Concepcion Veroya, the founder and CEO of ASLEX Speech Academy. And I would like to welcome you for the free learning session for tonight. Well, tonight, we will be joined by one of our new partner in ASLEX Speech Academy. This partner of ours is isa siyang IE no, by degree. She had her masteral or master's or graduate studies in Master of Engineering, major in Industrial Engineering also. She's certified in Six Sigma Yellow Belt, but on top of that, she's a professor no, sa IE department ng isang university located here at Laguna. And at the same time, consultant for quality management system and continuous improvement. And she specializes in the topic that she will share to us tonight, which is good manufacturing practices o yung tinatawag nating GMP. Without further ado, please help me welcome our esteemed resource person for tonight, Rhadinia Tayag, Master of Engineering in Industrial Engineering and Certified Lean Six Sigma Yellow Belt. Ma'am Ninya, magandang gabi po.
Good evening po.
And Ma'am Ninya, I'll be giving the floor to you and I'll be back for the Q&A after your lecture proper or sharing proper.
Thank you, sir, for that. Okay po. See you later po ulit. The topic for tonight is the good manufacturing practices. So maybe some of you already heard about the good manufacturing practices, but for some of our participants here, maybe ngayon lang siya narinig or maybe merong misconception with the word good manufacturing practices. So before that, I would like to introduce first myself. Pero na-introduce naman ako ni Sir Felix kanina. So I studied in De La Salle University. I graduated Bachelor Science in Industrial Technology, major in production, and also took up the bridge course of BS Industrial Engineering, and finished also my master's degree, major in Industrial Engineering. And currently, I'm taking also my master's MBA in SPCBA, and currently I'm in my thesis. And also, I'm certified Yellow Belt of ASLEX Academy. So yeah, and my work experience before is more on quality po talaga, and I work on packaging company which is more on pharma and food packaging yung products po nila, and the reason why naging forte ko rin po talaga si GMP. And also I work in some semiconductor industry also as a QMS engineer, and as well as currently I'm an IE professor in SPCBA, and also a part-time continuous improvement consultant. So for tonight, we will be discussing some overview with regards to GMP. So magtataka yung iba kasi bakit parang 1 hour lang yung GMP na ito, no? But actually, this is not the full course. This is the overview of GMP. So most of you is not familiar or maybe familiar with this. Para mas maging familiarize kayo, I will be discussing furthermore about GMP, tapos yung application GMP, difference ni GMP, and then 5 P's of GMP, which is the 5 key elements when you are going to build a guidelines of GMP, and also the benefits of GMP. So ano ba si GMP? GMP is good manufacturing practices. Most of the people na hindi familiar kay GMP, ang pagkakaalam nila dito is more on, is it the do's and don'ts inside the company? Yung ibang sinasabi naman, dapat tama lahat ang ginagawa sa loob ng kumpanya, dapat nasa ayos siya, nasa standard. Yung iba ganun yung perception with the good manufacturing practices. And ang pagkakaintindi ng iba, ina-apply ito sa lahat ng manufacturing company. Maybe yung iba, familiar na dito, yung nasa mga food industry and some other industry, no? But furthermore, malalaman natin dito kung ano ba talaga si GMP. So, GMP is a system for ensuring the products are constantly produced and controlled according to quality standard. It is designed to eliminate the product mix-up and minimize the risk involved in any food, pharmaceutical, and food pharmaceutical packaging production that cannot be eliminated through testing the final product. So, si GMP kasi, it's more on the quality standard. So, I think yung last week is napanood nyo rin yung iba no nakapanood ng session sa ASLEX na QMS. Parang it's a good thing din na nagkaroon din ng overview ng QMS yung ibang participant, tapos nagtuloy dito dun sa GMP kasi medyo connected kasi siya. And it's more on ensuring the product in the quality standard and attaining yung pinaka standard ng product for the consumer or the customer. Pero paano ba natin ma-attain yun, and saan ba manggagaling yung mga standard? And then mostly, di ba, sinasabi sa customer. But what if kung pharmaceutical siya? So it's more on the product standard para dun sa mga gagamit ng mga medicine or yung mga drugs na iti-take. And actually, those guidelines are required by the FDA. Kaya nga sabi rin dito, good manufacturing practices are the practices required in order to conform the guidelines recommended by FDA. So this is about dun sa FDA ng Philippines, kasi there's also FDA in some other country and US. They are also pertaining with the GMP with the food and pharma. But if you're going to notice, before kasi it's more on pharma. And then pagtagal, sinama na nila si food industry, and then meron silang certain guidelines for that. And then that control authorization and licensing for production and sales of food, drugs, product, and active pharmaceutical products. These guidelines provide requirements that a pharmaceutical or food product manufacturer must meet to assure that the products are in high quality and do not pose a risk of consumer or public. So, si FDA kasi yung nagbibigay ng certificate dun sa mga manufacturing company na yun. So, that's for food and pharmaceuticals. Sila yung po pwedeng mag-issue and mag-revoke ng license. And if hindi ka or hindi mo ma-meet yung standard requirement or guidelines given by the FDA, they will not be giving you a permit to operate. So, dun kasi nakasalalay yun eh. Kung hindi ka nakakapag-comply dun sa standard nila. And actually, they are also conducting inspection, si FDA. And furthermore, yung mga guidelines with that, nasa full course kasi siya eh. So this is just an overview. So FDA used to have an inspection. That's two kinds of inspection. That's yung tinatawag nating surprise, yung announced and unannounced inspection. For the unannounced inspection, that's only for the manufacturing ng food and pharmaceutical na nagko-comply in 3 years na walang product recall, walang naging problema dun sa mga products nila. So yun yung mga mostly announced. While dun sa unannounced, mostly ginagawa ni FDA yon for those company na nagkaroon ng problema before, yung mag-open pa lang or magbibigay ng permit sa kanila kasi para ma-check talaga ni FDA na before sila mag-manufacture is totally they are following the guidelines. Again, those guidelines is magkaiba sa food and pharma and it is in the FDA website naman. So trivia lang, GMP are a group of guidelines which regulated also by WHO, the World Health Organization since 1975 throughout the world. This is to ensure the good production and right testing of the product in terms of quality. So then again, sabi nga no, sa good manufacturing practices ni FDA, the Food and Drug Administration is responsible for the reinforcement of quality requirements, including the GMP standard, to ensure the regulated pharmaceutical products on the market meets efficacy, safety, and purity requirements. And this is posted in the FDA website. Actually, yun nga, no, like what I said, not only pharmaceutical, but also in the food industry. So, the common application of GMP, ito yung medyo bago dun sa iba, no, na akala kasi yung GMP kasi is implemented in every manufacturing company like garments, semicon, maybe yung portion ng 5Ps mamaya, medyo makaka-relate si semicon kasi, pero ang focus kasi ni GMP is food safety, not dun sa contamination dun sa product. Kasi si semicon, yung ibang madidiscuss natin, baka sasabihin ng iba, ay parang ganyan din yung practice namin sa loob ng company. But it's not GMP. It's more on, siguro sa semicon, it's Kaizen kung tawagin. No? Don't be confused with it. So, bakit may naka-bold dito and yung hindi naka-bold? Kasi nakalagay dito, packaging industry also may GMP and yung supplier ng raw materials ng food and pharma. Because if the pharmaceutical company and food industry is implementing QMS, they are mostly conducting also audits for the supplier or the supplier audit. So if you attended last time dun sa QMS na webinar, nabanggit din yun, I think, ni ma'am na nag-seminar noon. So, ano ba yung mostly ino-audit dun sa packaging company na ito? The supplier din. So, kung ano yung kinakailangan syempre ni GMP guidelines, kasi mostly pharma and food, tayo nag-i-implement, yung supplier natin hindi nag-i-implement. Baka mamaya pag dinala sa atin yung product, sila pala yung hindi nagko-comply or yung mga raw materials na pinadala sa atin is sila pala yung hindi nagko-comply. So si GMP is also part dun sa supplier aspect, not only in the inside the company, and that supplier aspect is also part of the manufacturing. Now, so we have the relationship of the quality management, like what I said a while ago. So, si quality management first, and then si quality assurance. Si quality assurance yung nag-implement kay GMP. So, si GMP is dapat nasa production siya and quality control. So, we have here the quality management, the aspect of management function that determines and implements the quality policy. So, ito si quality management. And then, while good manufacturing practices is the part of quality assurance, that ensures that products are produced and controlled consistently and reliably. This consistency of production and control is essential. So meaning, sino yung nag-i-implement ng GMP, which is si Quality Department or si Quality Assurance. And mostly, in GMP, sa Quality Department, it ensures the product are consistently produced and controlled in terms of quality standard, contamination and cross-contamination, mixed up, company complying with the GMP standard. So, ito yung sinasabi natin na focus dun sa FDA nga. And yung quality standard when it comes to sa GMP. So, itong mga kinokontrol na to, yung 5 elements mamaya, yun yung gagamitin natin para ma-control natin si GMP. So, meron tayong tinatawag na GMP and CGMP. So, yung iba medyo nalilito. Ano ba yung i-implement ko sa company? Kasi food manufacturing company kami. Is it CGMP ba or GMP? So, good manufacturing practices is a system to ensure that the product are consistently produced and controlled accordingly to establish a quality standard. So, meaning, ito yung mga sumusunod lang ito yung sinusunod natin na guidelines. While si CGMP, yung C kasi doon is yung current na tinatawag natin. Current good manufacturing practices, or which means it indicates that the most recent standards, requirements, technology, and methods are being applied to the operations. Meaning, you need to update every time yung GMP mo. So, if ever you have new machines, you have new instruction, procedure, you need to update the GMP, and that would be the CGMP. And halimbawa, you are being audited by FDA before, and ito yung dating mga procedure. Tapos, may nadagdag na process, may nadagdag na product, may nadagdag na machines. You need to update the current GMP. Hindi mo po pwedeng gamitin yung previous kasi may nabago or may nadagdag, and that could be part of the GMP, and that will be CGMP. So, pag sinabing GMP, that's the current. You need to update if ever na meron bago dun sa company, no? Even the supplier, if you have new supplier, you need also to update. Kasi like, how are you going to receive those product? How are you going to check or test those product na sinupply? So, yeah. So, here are the basic requirements for the good manufacturing practices. Clearly defined and systematically reviewed process. So, meaning, pagka gagawa kayo ng mga process, dapat it's clearly defined. Furthermore, madidiscuss natin yung these 5 elements. And then, meron tayong tinatawag na qualification and validation if performed in all aspects. You need to check on the performance of your company if it is correct in terms of instruction and based dun sa actual. Kasi meron kasi, di ba, yung nag-shortcut. So, you need to audit those kind of performance in your production. And then, some appropriate resources are provided na kinakailangan natin bago tayo mag-implement ng GMP. So, we will be needing a qualified and trained personnel, which is dapat updated lagi yung training nila in terms of GMP. The premises, space, equipment, and service are in standard. So, ito yung mostly madidiscuss din natin dito sa gabing ito, no? And then, materials container are properly labeled or there's a color coding with it. And if applicable, laboratories is in standard kasi there's a laboratory standard when it comes to pharmaceuticals and some other food manufacturing company like yung mga testing, kung kailan ma-expired yung mga product nila, kung when magkakaroon ng molds, may mga ganyang testing. That's just like an example. And then, documented instruction and procedure. So, hindi tayo po pwedeng magkakaroon lang ng verbal. It should be properly documented. And natitrain din sa tao yung mga documents na yun. And then, trained operators, ito nga yun. And not only for the instruction, but also dun, if ever they are having a machine to operate, they need to have a proper training to that also. And then the record keepings, this is very important when it comes to GMP, and documentation of all action, deviation, and or investigation. Kasi if ever there's a contamination, product mix up, recall, ito yung tutulong sa inyo para makapag-backtrack dun sa mga naging problema or para makapag-root cause analysis kung saan ba nagkaroon ng problema or saan nanggaling yung problema. And then records production and deliveries distribution as well, and proper storage requirements, because in GMP, if ever you're in food and pharma, there's a temperature requirement in every warehouses or in manufacturing na dapat natin sinusustain. And then the system for the customer complaints. Hindi yung tipong kung nag-customer yung customer complaint yung customer ninyo, hindi niyo sasagutin kagad or bahala na si customer mag-follow up sa sagot. So you need to have a system with this one. So that would be all for the basic requirement for GMP, but a lot of requirement pa ang kinakailangan when you have the guidelines. So the 5 key elements, so if some of you has been in some food and pharma manufacturing company, maybe working or OJT or plant visit, medyo familiar kayo dito. So yung key elements na to, pagka gagawa kayo ng GMP guidelines, ito yung kailangan nyong i-consider. Ito yung dapat nating chine-check palagi sa manufacturing, lalong-lalo na if you are an engineer. So mostly kasi pag nasa food and pharma, it's more on IE, chemical engineers, mga food nutritionists, and other related courses. No? And ito yung pinofocus talaga ng GMP. And don't be confused. It doesn't mean you're a food manufacturing company. Pare-pareho kayo nung guidelines na gagawin. Kasi magkakaiba kayo ng machine, manpower, product. So, depende pa rin to sa company. But generally speaking, ito yung dapat ninyong i-check. It is in general form, si 5 elements. So, we have the people or personnel, the premises, processes, product, and procedures. So let's have first the people. We need to check on the uniforms, gear, PPE, disease, or hygiene. Actually, kahit wala pa si pandemic before, pinapractice na ni GMP ito. So, para mas detailed, so once na pumasok tayo or magiging empleyado tayo sa isang manufacturing company na food and pharma, or maybe it is a supplier of food and pharma, nag-i-implement tayo ng GMP. O kaya pag magpa-plant visit kayo or bibisita kayo sa mga ganong company, you need to take note of this. This is in general. You need to take a bath daily. So, hindi mo pwede yung American style na ligo sa gabi tapos pasok sa umaga. So, bawal din yung perfume because yung perfume may maybe kakapit dun sa product and magkakaroon ng possible contamination. No makeup and no jewelry and no false nail or nail polish, no false lashes, no eating, drinking, and chewing gum. So, all of this is more on sa people siya or ginagawa to ng tao. And pag nasa manufacturing industry kayo ng food and pharma, bawal ito. Why? Because most probably it may have a cross-contamination sa product. Halimbawa, kumakain ka ng chips. Tapos yung operator pala nun ay may false nail. Sumama dun sa chips. Baka pagkagat mo yung false nail, ano pa yung makagat mo, no? May tendency ganun na and may mga ganun ng incident before. And yun yung iniiwasan natin. Parang, example lang, no? Pasintabi doon sa mga kumakain. Like, example, may mga buhok lang dun sa food, di ba? Hindi, parang, actually, yung hair, guys, that's yung pinakamadaming part ng katawan din natin. Kahit na bagong ligo, lalong na pagpasa yung hair. Kasi, yun yung kinakapitan ng dumi. And here is possible contamination in food and pharmaceuticals company. So, yan. And people, also, everyone must wear pants and cover sleeves. Don't wear colored dye pants and skirt dresses. The reason why bawal yung colored dye pants, yan yung pag nilabhan, kumakapit yung kulay dun sa tubig. So, may tendency pag pinagpawisan kayo or nabasa yung pants nyo, is kumapit dun sa product ninyo. While dress and skirt naman, this is very dangerous even in some other manufacturing company. Bawal din naman ito, no? It may cause accident as well. So, separate shoes outside and inside. No open toes or high heels are to be worn inside the plant. Bawal yung open toe and yung high heels because of possible magkakaroon ng accident. And separate dapat yung shoes sa labas and sa loob ng kumpanya because po pwede kang magpasok ng germs, ng bacteria and dumi. Kaya nga, you need to replace your suits and yung ibang company, they are wearing also gown, lalo na sa mga pharmaceuticals company. And then also yung personal belonging, it should be nasa mga locker rooms. So pati outside clothing, hindi rin dapat ipapasok sa loob ng planta. Why? Because pag bumiyahe ka, lahat ng usok, lahat ng alikabok na sasako mo. So pag pumasok ka sa manufacturing company, pwedeng makontaminate yung mga product na hahawakan. And then, do not leave gloves, mask anywhere. Even now, no, alam naman ninyo kung paano na ginagawa natin dyan ngayong pandemic na bawal talagang iwan saan-saan yan. Bakit? Kasi it's prone to infectious diseases. Ito yung susunod na natin. Inform your supervisor or HR if you are ill with symptoms that contaminate the ingredient or products. Kasi meron tendency na if ever meron kang sakit na nakakahawa and then na-transfer siya dun sa product, tapos napunta siya sa end user, napakalaking problema yan. Kaya dapat sa manufacturing companies, pino-contain yung mga ganyang cases. And then no medication allowed in factory. Make sure you have fit to work certificate before going to work. Aside from pwedeng mahawa yung end user, pwede rin ikaw makahawa sa kapwa mo katrabaho. And ensure that a clean bandage cover any open wounds. Always clean your wounds. So just in case naman, pero if you have wounds, you need to pay attention also of your clinic if possible ba kayong pumasok. Kasi baka may dumudugo yung wound natin, no? Tapos matuluan yung product and that's a contamination. And then, do not handle a raw material or products with either cut or infected fingernails. This is what I'm talking about. So, see naman dito sa pictures yung mga kailangan hindi gawin. So, next, all employees must wash their hands truly. Actually, hindi pa pandemic, ganito na talaga ginagawa sa GMP. So, tuwing kailan maghugas ng kamay when entering the plant, before starting in the workstation, after handling contaminated materials, after break time, after using toilet facilities. So how are you going to wash your hands? So this is just an instruction. I think you know this already because medyo sikat siya ngayon dahil pandemic nga. Pero even before in food manufacturing company in pharma, we are doing this consistently. Ang sabi nga, you need to sing a happy birthday song bago ka matapos maghugas. Pero actually, hindi yan natutupad. Pero you need to do that. You need to, number 1 to 8, you need to follow this. And huwag nyo na lang lakasan yung happy birthday song kasi baka pagkama ng may birthday kayo or kinakantahan. The reason why I'm telling you na kailangan kumanta ng happy birthday song, ganun kailangan katagal maghugas ng kamay. So yan, wash your hands with soap, of course, and avoid yung mga scented soap if ever nakapasok kayo sa food manufacturing and pharmaceutical. So let's proceed with the next P, the premises. So you need to have a clean machine, anteroom, blowers, facilities, entrance, PVC curtains, flooring, walls, ceiling, windows, doors, lights, and so on. So yun yung kailangan na merong blower facilities and also yung fire exits, fire hose. Ito yung mga kailangan nating meron inside the company. Yung anteroom, guys, this is yung room bago pumasok dun sa planta. Doon ka mag-aayos ng hairnet mo, doon ka mag-aayos ng gown mo, doon ka mag-aayos ng gloves mo, and then doon ka magtatanggal ng makeup, and then doon ka mag-wash ng hands. Actually, I would like to add, no, if ever you will be designing your faucet, make it sure it's yung tinatapakan, yung pedal, para hindi nagka-transfer yung bacteria or germs after using the faucet. Pagka kasi yung by knob, babalik din yung yung dumi. So, I suggest you design a pedal or yung tinutuhod na faucet. So, yan. So, you should have those blower, if ever lang, no, yung blower para ma-wash out yung mga alikabok or matanggal yung alikabok. And then, you should have also fire exits for this one, no? This is in more on safety, and this is also part of the GMP. No water is visible inside the plant because it is the way na attracted yung mga insects, and dun din nag-aanak sila, mosquito. Yan. No wood flooring and in workstation for assembly process because wood may cause a chip off and pwedeng matransfer dun sa product. And then for the premises, keep unscreened doors and window closed. And there are possible kasi baka sabihin na, ay, lagyan nating screen lahat. May possible kasi na kailangan may malaki kang door for transferring or expediting some products. And you need to have a, siguro PVC curtain for that na lang. Huwag yung screen and doors kasi medyo matrabaho and delikado. And then always check the pest traps, insecutors, and report any pest or evidence and pests such as flies, insects, mice, and droppings. So you need to have a record with that kasi part yan ng pest control. Lalong-lalo na if you are implementing also IS or yung QMS. Minsan in-audit din yan. And also FDA is looking that also. And gano'n yung frequency of checking, paano kayo nagpapalit, yan, kasama yan dyan. And then, of course, no pets allowed inside the plant. So, kung mahilig kayo, mga fur parents, bawal magdala ng pets. So, pets and pests, hindi po pwede. So, yan. Always make sure that PVC curtains are clean. Yun nga, no, pag naglagay tayo ng PVC curtain, make it sure it is clean or nire-replace pag kailangan na siyang palitan. So, you establish the frequency of changing of that. Always make sure there is no cobwebs. Yung mga agyo, kailangan wala yan. Because mapupunta doon sa product yung mga yung mga alikabok. So yan. And then also light with cover and properly monitored, no busted lights with cover dapat tsaka yung clean cover. So, meaning yung lahat ng ilaw dapat may cover. Actually, guys, if you watch the movie na, I think that's The Billionaire, yung kay Itipat, The Millionaire or Millionaire, madidiscuss si GMP doon. So, if napanood nyo, medyo familiar kayo dyan. So, do not clean seat or step product or product surface boxes container because it may fall or makontaminate si product kasi baka mag-open si boxes. And do not engage in any horseplay. So, bawal magharutan sa loob ng company kasi baka may makontaminate na product or baka magkasakitan and then madadamay si product or yung process natin. So, in premises, you need to also have a keep contact surface clean and free obstruction, contamination from tools, forks, cleaning utensils, machine parts, floor, lubricants, and paper, etc. All of these you need to have it clean and also clean all spills promptly. After cleaning it, don't forget to put signage kasi there are some instances na it's slippery when wet, diba? And hindi siya kagad natutuyo. We need to put some signages to avoid also yung accident. And ang problema din dyan, pag nadulas, syempre yung mga talsik ng tubig, baka pumunta sa produkto. And then keep everything off the floor and clean area floors swept. Hindi ka po pwede guys maglagay ng product contact dun sa floor. Make sure you have a pallets. And the pallet should be hindi siya yung wood pallet because wood pallet may also have a contamination. And then keep everything off the floor. And then working station should be cleared or cleaned regularly throughout the shift. Always keep your immediate working area. So meaning bago magpalit ng operator, kailangan meron silang check sheet to check those working station and working area na maayos yung area nila bago sila umalis. Because if ever hindi siya maayos, may tendency magkaroon ng contamination. Kasi hindi alam nung kapalitan mo kung ano yung ginawa mo dun sa working area mo before. So you need to clean those. And kaya nga sabi dito, always leave your work area clean at the end of your shift and then you have a clearance sheet. So slip. Some other company, they are not having a clearance slip. So kaya hindi nila alam kung ano yung nangyayari dun sa production. Kaya if may clearance slip, meaning nalinis na, and then bagong setup na, you need to have this one para mag-avoid din yung product mix-up or yung contamination. And if nagkaroon kasi ng product mix-up, may tendency na yung isang ship kasi, ibang product yung niran, tapos this ship is iba rin yung product. Baka what do you call this? Baka mix up yung mga product and product mix-up may fall to customer complaint also. Premises during facilities maintenance, ensure area is covered to avoid contamination or schedule during holidays if not urgent. So there are cases that you need to have a maintenance your facilities or your premises. Like yung ilaw, madumi or kailangan palitan. Yung iba, kailangan palitan yung wall. And if there's a case with that, we need to ensure that the area has a cover dun sa mga product or dun sa during the production to avoid contamination. And then, do not leave maintenance supply near the product and machines. There are instances dati na kapag pa-deliver kami sa customer, may kasama libreng plies. So, yung libreng plies na yon, kinomplain din ng customer. Pero, di ba, parang libre na nga sila eh. So, pero they will be complaining with that because yung plies nga na yun is hindi nila alam kung saan ang galing or saan ginamit. And possible lahat ng product inside the box is contaminated. So yan. And then, return properly all the tools used during the maintenance. Yun nga, no, don't leave it in the, kasi the area. And then, ensure the production area is clear from any tools and other hazard before and during production. So, tanggalin lahat because yung mga yan may have an effect dun sa production process nyo sa product and may also have a hazard during the production. Kung hindi man dun sa product, baka dun sa process and mag-fall dun sa accident. So let's proceed with the next P, which is the processes. So processes, the production process should be properly defined and controlled based on each processes. So meaning, when you said processes, like what I said a while ago, if pare-pareho kayong pharmaceutical, pare-pareho kayong food industry, chances are meron kayong differences. Difference in raw material, difference in supplier, difference in product as well. So magkakaiba yung process niyan kaya hindi niyo po pwedeng copyhin yung ibang instruction made or the processes made by the other company. So the processes will fall on the different areas like raw materials, warehouse, receiving, and stocking. You observe the proper stocking height, yan, and then raw materials standard. And then production, quality control inspection, and then also yung finished good process, and then yung finished good warehouse in terms of stocking. And then take note, all critical processes should be validated to ensure the consistency of each process. Next, also in processes, we have here yung crates, boxes, container, or buckets must be or not be placed directly on the floor. Nabanggit ko naman na din to kanina. No? And bakit siya nasa process? Di ba dapat nandun siya sa product? Actually, nasa process siya dahil after ng work in progress niyo or pagkatapos gawin yung product, inilalagay na siya sa pallets. Diba? And make it sure that process is consistent na nilalagay sa paleta. So, yung iba naman, kung walang pallets, ang ginagamit is yung crates. Pero yung ibang ginagawa pa nila, may crates, may pallets na nga, and then may crates pa. So, yan. Again, no wooden pallets because of the shape of the wood. And then, we have your cleaning materials like rags, broom, and dust pans are need to be stored properly and at station provided. So, make it sure after gamitin, ibalik siya sa lagayan. So, bakit nasa process siya, wala sa premises? Because you have the process of cleaning sometimes of the working area, di ba? And bakit kailangan siya ibalik if nakatabi naman? Baka bumalik lang din yung duming nilinis ninyo pagka nahanginan siya. So, yan. Next, P is the product. When you said product, we need to also have the right specification, the right quality, and the right packaging of the product. You need also to observe always to check on the raw materials for expiration dates to ensure the product quality. Hindi lang yun dun sa hindi lang dun sa mga kinakain natin, pati syempre dun sa mga nire-receive nating raw materials. So be conscious about the expiration. So, actually, ito nakalagay dito, 6M, 12M, 18M. Ito yung mostly nakikita dun sa mga product na pag inopen ninyo, upon opening, pwede lang siya gamitin ng 6M, ibig sabihin, 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, and 24 months. And you need to comply with this one because may tendency kasi na pag binili natin yung isang raw materials, halimbawa nasa isang container, ilan lang yung products na gagamitin mo doon eh. Or if it is liquid. Pag binuksan mo yon at ang nakalagay na is ito, 6M, 12M, yun yung susundin mo na expiration. Upon opening, pwede mo lang siyang gamitin ng 6 months. Yan. And then, keep hand contact with raw materials product to a minimum level. Wag mo madalas hawakan. Unless you have gloves. Why? Because your hands may cause perspiration, yung pawis ninyo, and pwede siyang mapunta dun sa And take note, some other product kasi, minsan tinitest yan. And baka makita may, alam mo, tinest ni ng isang third party na testing, and nakita maraming bacteria, and kaya pala maraming bacteria kasi lagi siyang nahahawakan. Kaya you have a minimum level of hand contact with the products. If there is a cooling process for the product, there are chances na pinapalamig kasi yung product. You should have a cover for that product or nakabox siya and then you cover it. And then color coding for boxes, crates, container, pallets to avoid product mix-up. And usually yung ganun color coding pagka green, example lang, ito yung usual color. Green is for good products. And then red is for rejected or contaminated. Something like, hindi mo siya dapat ihalo sa mga good, yung mga nasa red. And while blue is more on rework, and yung iba is more on work in progress. Depende pa rin sa company kung ano. Pero mostly green is yung wood and red is yung reject. And yung color coding na yun, you should indicate with this another P, the procedure. So procedure, making sure all steps needed in the process should be well defined in the procedure and instruction. Why? Kasi baka mamaya meron kang ginagawa na wala naman dun sa procedure. Pag in-audit ka, hahanapin yun. Minsan naman, nasa procedure, pag in-audit yung process, hindi sumusunod sa procedure naman. So make it sure na it's in the paper and it's in actual. So it's Some other company, they called it SOP, the standard operating procedure. Some other is work instruction. Some other, they called it special work instruction. So there are some cases na there's a special work instruction lalong-lalo na kung critical yung product. Kaya medyo may nakalagay siyang special. And those instruction may be from the raw materials warehouse that's receiving and stocking yung raw materials mo. Ito pa rin, no? Parang sa process, production, quality control inspection, finished good, and finished good warehouse. Note, any of deviation from the written procedure should be properly investigated and documented. Once na may hindi nag-comply dun sa procedure, like for example, ang very critical dito is yung inspection, make it sure na naka-document siya. And actually, kahit sa raw materials, nagkamali ng receiving, hindi nagkaroon ng testing, hindi nagkaroon ng sampling, make it sure naka-written siya na ito nag-deviate dun sa may non-conformity ginawa. You need to have a documentation with that for further investigation. Kasi may tendency or chances are, baka yung ginawang yun is makaabot sa customer and may fall to customer complaints. So we have here the benefits of having GMP. So if you have GMP, it may increase the customer confidence in products. And then also to avoid the product contamination. Ito talaga yung pinaka-purpose actually ni GMP. Yung to avoid product contamination and also yung product mixed up. And then eliminate rework related and also eliminate operating costs due to rework. And decrease penalties due to non-compliance. Actually, if you are not complying with the GMP, there are chances are that the FDA will revoke or will not issue you any certificate to operate or certificate with your product. Kasi guys, may certificate for the product and then may certificate also kay GMP for the manufacturing. So magkaiba siya actually. And then help boost export opportunities and enhance food safety management system for food industry naman. And actually yung food safety naka-focus din siya kay GMP. And yung iba no, yung medyo familiar dito, meron din tayong tinatawag kasi na HACCP. Is it in the GMP ba? HACCP is different from GMP. It's more on hazardous naman yung chine-check niya dun sa, like yung if ever you have chemicals and then you have hazard in your production, you need to have or implementation of HACCP. And FDA also is checking those regulations. And it's part of food safety. So you spot the hazard. So I think you can spot the hazard here. This is just an example of not complying the GMP standard. So all of the topic that I've discussed, lalo na sa 5 elements, it's in general form. So if ever you'll be having a plant visit in some other company or planning to work in some other company na food and pharma or packaging company, medyo familiar na kayo. And that's their requirement to have a good manufacturing practices or you need to implement the CGMP. So that would be all for tonight. So yan. So do you have any questions?
Ayan. Thank you, Miss Nina, for that great sharing on GMP. Ako personally, ang key takeaway ko, akala ko pag sinabing GMP, coming from the phrase itself, yun nga, yung generic siya na practice to any industry. So, kung tama yung pagkakaintindi ko, ito pala ay dominant or yun yung best word na naiisip ko, dominant siya or usually applied to pharmaceutical and food industry pala. Hindi pala siya yung tipong
Yes, sir.
sa lahat ng industry. Pero if we will look into it, no, you have a good point there on the parang first few slides na may mga practices na ginagawa din sa ibang industry, no? Yung iba nga yung ginagawa pre-pandemic, no? As a form of measure and clauses within the GMP. So yun, no, napakagandang opportunity for us to be educated, no, at saka masagot yung ating mga parang thoughts, no, initial thoughts na akala ko pang lahat siya, hindi pala, no. Well, I would believe na pwede din, no, pero siguro to some extent, no, hindi yung
Opo.
parang copy, sabi mo nga, may kanya-kanya yung mga uniqueness pa din, even in the same industry, may different material, etc. So, but it's a good thing, no, we've ako personally, I've learned things na, oo nga, no, pwede tong gawin or dapat tong gawin, no, especially when you're dealing with yung food and pharma, yan. So now we are opening the floor for questions that you might have or clarifications. We can accommodate maybe 3 to 5 questions, the benefit of time being. We now have questions coming from our Zoom audience. We have now 2 questions, so I'll be starting to read these questions. The first question was, okay, does FDA recommend any special precautions over the manufacturing of animal-derived drug ingredients to prevent contaminations? Medyo technical siguro, pero let's see kung for now masasagot ni Miss Nina. Parang ano ata regulation kapag ang drug ingredients is coming from animals or extracted from animals.
Okay, for that kasi that's a pharmaceutical form na, no. And if you are referring dun sa drug for animals, there's a guidelines for that also, which is binibigay ni FDA. And you need to comply those guidelines. Maybe papasok nga din yung sinabi ko last time, no, yung pinaka-last, yung sa HACCP, yung hazard. And inaano siya ni FDA, binibigay yung guidelines for that. And may tendency kasi na baka kasi mainom ng tao, example lang, no? And there are the guidelines given by the FDA, which is papasok na siya dun sa HACCP.
Yan, no. If I may add, no, siguro for yung animal derived, kung let's say for example, the ingredients is from animals, I would believe na meron, no. But the technicality siguro we can consult maybe with the someone from FDA or who works for FDA. So, tingnan natin if we can maybe sa parating na panahon we can invite someone to discuss yung medyo na siya, medyo technical na siya kung tutuusin.
It's more on for chemical engineer po siya yata, sir.
But thank you, Miss Nina, for your insight. Second question from Zoom. Wala pa ako na-receive from YouTube or baka hindi ko pa lang nakita. So let's go for the second question. From another anonymous attendee. What is the common thing or sabi niya kung may commonality ba daw or difference yung GMP and ergonomics?
Okay, so GMP and ergonomics, you can apply ergonomics also in GMP by designing. Pero kasi ergonomic, it's more on science of fitting work, di ba? Yung people to work, it's more on design siya. So if ever it's more on ergonomics, yung i-apply mo kay GMP, I suggest po pwede mo siyang gawin dun sa process na para hindi mahihirapan si worker during their inspection in terms of yung hindi, di ba meron tayong sinabi na hindi masyadong hahawakan dapat yung product. So baka po pwedeng dun mo i-apply si ergonomics also.
Okay. And also, siguro kung napansin natin, no, there are best practices or clauses within the 5 Ps that were discussed earlier na not only common sa ergonomics but also dun sa iba-iba mga workplace standards na available sa industry, no. kasama din doon yung mga paano mag-design, sinabi ni Miss Nina earlier. Yung kung if you're an IE and you're here in the session, you're familiar with work study, work measurement, mga principles of motion economy. So na-cover din natin even safety protocols, no, operational safety and health, nako-cover din siya in a way, no. So it's really, I think it's really a culmination of all best practices tapos adopted, no, siguro muna, no, nung nauna siya dun sa pharma and food. Pero I think yun nga, as mentioned earlier, we can draw in some that could be applicable to our industry if ever hindi tayo nandun sa industry ng pharma and food. Yan. Okay, so thank you again, Miss Nina. We have two more questions coming in. Ayan, sabi ni anonymous attendee ulit, ay hindi na magpakilala. So why is the code of GMP changing from time to time?
So, bakit siya nagpapalit? Because we are in a technology-based industry na nagkakaroon tayo ng updates palagi. And you need to update it time to time, lalong-lalo na if you are upgrading some process or process improvement. Kaya nga, dati GMP lang yan. Tapos ngayon po is naging CGMP na. And you need to update every new technology or new improvement na ginagawa. And it will be fall dun sa mga guidelines, and that's also mandated by the FDA. Kung ano yung bago, dapat yun yung nakasulat and yun yung sinusunod natin. And bakit natin siya kailangan i-update? Para mas maiwasan natin yung mga nabanggit ko kanina, yung mga cross-contamination, yung mga product mix-up, yun yung mga importante, and the food safety as well.
Okay, thank you for that insight, Miss Nina, Engineer Nina. Meron tayong question coming in from YouTube. So let me read the question. So this question is from Carl Sokatan. What is the most applicable approach for third-party logistics or 3PL that handles raw materials of a manufacturing company? Is it GMP or CGMP?
Okay, so there are some logistic na kailangan talaga si GMP because there are cases na yung ibang pharma kasi nagpapa-warehouse dun sa iba, no? And yung iba naman sila yung nagdadala ng raw materials for that. So, GMP kasi, yun yung ini-implement ninyo na guidelines from the FDA. And the CGMP, if there's a upgrade dun sa process ninyo, sa system ninyo, dun sa ginagawa ninyo, and that will be the time na yun yung i-implement ninyo, the CGMP. So, yung CGMP kasi, yun yung current, yun yung bago, yun yung new technique na ginagamit ninyo. Kumbaga, last year, naka-manual process kami. So, and then this year, naka-automated process. So, yung automated process, dapat yun yung nakalagay ngayon dun sa guidelines ninyo. That's the current good manufacturing practices na ninyo. Hindi nyo na kasi ginagamit yung manual eh. So, that's the old one. But not necessarily GMP lang ang tawag nun. That time, that's the CGMP. And this time, this is the CGMP, yung automated. So, yun siya.
Okay. So, just to clarify, kasi kanina, thank you for the insight, Engineer. Meron lang kanina ditong question asking the difference. So, I thought, baka na-miss out ko lang kanina. Pero to your point, just a follow-up question. So, you're saying that, for example, when a company starts applying GMP, GMP siya. Tapos kung halimbawa there are changes or updates, it becomes CGMP.
Yes,
And then
sir.
after nun, CGMP na yung tawag.
Yes, sir. Opo.
Oh,
Tapos po, pagka halimbawa po, sir, di ba, nag-update na rin po ngayon. Tapos nag-update po ulit sila. That's the CGMP pa rin po nila.
So parang CGMP na once na may mga changes from the original. Okay, okay. That explains. Thank you for that clarification. Okay. In the benefit of time again, we can only answer much questions. So I'm picking some. Meron akong nakuha ulit dito. Any advice from Arman Ray Damasino? Any advice po on effective ways of applying process improvements para ma-meet ang GMP standards?
Okay, yung mostly na process improvement na you can apply to meet the GMP standard, maybe it's more on, di ba, you focus on those five, yung 5 Ps. Kung ano yung mga gusto ninyong i-focus, like, for example, if you want to focus on the people, like, yung people is ma-minimize yung paghawak nila dun sa product and people, make sure na you have like automated process, like you put some conveyors, and in that case it may less also yung mga travel time and motion, yung mga ways for that, and maliles din yung contact nung people dun sa product. That's one of the process improvement. But the process improvement, you should take note also kung ano yung pinaka-applicable nung dun sa company. You need to check kung saan kayo magpo-focus first. Hindi yung basta-basta na lang tayo magpa-process improvement. I-check niyo kung saan kayo dapat magpo-focus. Maybe you do some PDCA for that, or PDSA, para ma-apply nyo yung process improvement for the GMP.
Good. Thank you for that. And actually, may gusto akong idagdag. Pero before that, I think it's good to answer this question coming from Leila Apasible from Team YouTube. Ayan. Is there any standard GMP checklist that we have to follow in food manufacturing, or is it only made or formulated by the plant?
Okay, so for that case, if it is food manufacturing company, you need to follow the guidelines given by the FDA. So, merong given na right guidelines si FDA, and then pagka first time nyo mag-operate, they will be checking it, they will be conducting audit, and then they will be giving you some list that you need to improve, you need to implement. So, yun yung guidelines for that. If ever naman you're a packaging company naman, there are cases kasi na hindi naman siya nire-regulate ni FDA. Make it sure medyo vertically aligned kayo for those guidelines given by the FDA. Because most probably your customer will audit you, like yung food and pharma, dun sa mga packaging company. So, dapat nagko-comply din kayo dun. And kayo yung possible na gagawa ng guidelines. And yung overview na diniscuss ko may help also with that. Lalong-lalo na kung food packaging, or maybe packaging company kayo and then ngayon lang kayo nagkaroon ng food packaging, or ngayon lang kayo nagkaroon ng customer na pang food or pharma, po pwede nyong gamitin to for as an overview. Pero overview lang to, so much better to have that full course naman if ever.
Thank you for that. Kasi hindi nyo itatanong ko sana, like for example, management system, do we have something similar to the checklist that are being used? Yan, si engineer niya naman is actually a QMS consultant by herself. So, nasagot naman siya. Well, I quickly checked, no, doon sa website ng FDA, because we're talking about FDA since I think the first 3-4 slides, no? I actually had the chance to take ito do. If you are here sa Zoom and you're on YouTube, I copied in a link, no, fda.gov.ph/drugs/GMP. But if you look into the link, you'll see that may mga tabs, like for example, pag food, kapag cosmetics and toys, kapag drugs, kapag medical device, kapag radiation health. So I think these are the general guidelines for you to follow, no? And then sabi nga ni Miss Ninya, coming from the guidelines, in relation to the question about process improvement, first you have to assess whether saan yung meron na kayo, okay na kayo, no? Kumbaga gap analysis. Ano yung requirement, ano yung meron kayo ngayon, kung saan may pinakamalaking gap, or kung may gaps pa, kailangan i-address. Tapos wag may nakita kayong nagiging gap na as you try to change yung processes, or maybe may ginalaw kayo at some parts, then that's gonna be the basis of you on how you will go or move to the improved state. Yan. Pero still following itong guidelines, I think na prescribed ng FDA or ng Food and Drug Administration dito sa Philippines. Kasi kanina nabanggit ni Engineer Ninya na for some continents or countries, may sarili silang GMP guidelines, no? Based sa kanilang regulation, no? Country regulation. Ayan, so ngayon medyo hindi tayo makapag-accommodate ng question. So nandito naman, no? We can Ayan, may sumasagot din daw sa YouTube. Ayan, sabi ni Rina Cruz, no, yung isa sa ating mga Alpha alumni. No, meron daw ng mga standards like yung Food Safety Management System or FSMS at saka yung mga AO153. So if you're interested, yan, you can head to the comment section of the YouTube channel para makita niyo yung details dun sa mga nasa Zoom natin. Well, I think for the benefit of time being, hanggang doon lang muna tayo for tonight, no? We'd like to thank Miss Nina for sharing her expertise on GMP. Pwede natin siyang i-follow, no, or i-contact using the information provided in this particular slide. So that's going to be linkedin.com/in/ninyatayag. Yan, or yan, search nyo lang sa profile niya sa Facebook, and pwede nyo siyang email if you have specific questions, and for sure she'll try to answer. And Miss Ninya, invite mo sila kasi we're talking about something good to happen on April.
So, by April, guys, if you want to learn more, kasi this is very short time yung 45-50 minutes natin, no? Na topic na pang-overview lang talaga for the GMP. Pero yung pinaka-full course, which is yung nandun yung paano mag-audit, yung sa FDA guidelines, tapos if you're want to be in the food and pharma industry, I would like to invite you by April for the full course for the good manufacturing practices. So, nandun lahat. So, medyo matagal tayong mag-uusap doon, and doon ko rin masasagot like yung mga kung saan kayo magkakaroon ng process improvement, how to deal with the answer with regards dun sa inspection and audits ni FDA. So, nandun na siya to focus on. And kasi yung dito, yung pinaka-content lang, yung generic, yung general, na ginagawa sa GMP. And for that case, yung sa April, kasi it's a full course if ever. So, if you want to join, just contact Mr. Felix Peroya in Aslex PH Academy po.
Ayan. So, thank you, Engineer Tayag, for giving your time and expertise for this learning session. Maraming salamat po. And
Thank you, sir.
Ayan. For those people who are interested to join the session, and we just talked about it earlier, we'll be having a course, yun nga, sabi na kanina, about a full course